that song. Didn't he write that for the March Madness?
No, that was Huey Lewis and the News.
No, but there's a song. This is it. Make no mistake. Dick Enberg started using that in 1979. They started using that in March Madness with Indiana State, Michigan State.
Yeah.
Hey, great show for you today. Great day. My favorite day of the week, Monday morning. Hey, we don't take applications, only commitments. That's the Marine Corps' motto. On this show, only positive attitudes. Pen and paper handy. Smash the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Allow notifications on your Android and iPhone. And look, Brendan, let's say for people out there, my dad the other day watches the show every day. He goes, what's that app that we send out every day with sidelines? He doesn't. I go, that's the thing you tap on. And that'll go take you straight to the show. Is there anything else we can tell? Yes. Link. It's the link. That's right.
People don't get the link. The masses don't get the links. If they find us, they're going to find us here. And if you like what you're seeing, that's why we ask you to click the subscribe button to continue to get this really great content for free to you. If you're watching on Facebook, click the like button. You're going to follow us on that way too. You have multiple ways for you to get involved in our new Twitter following. Thank you so much for being part of our new family here. We're endeavoring to learn more about broadcasting and simulcasting to Twitter. We can't always get the chat and stuff, but go ahead and send us a tweet sometimes at sidelines.live. And you can get that out in the show. All right, we got all of our stuff in the budget.
We are ready.
Bo Carter in the green room, and
let's
get
go.
Pen and paper. Let's go.
Let's go.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
All right, big day today. Bo Carter's with us. Look, got this shirt, man. Hewlett and Dunn. It's the Tennessee shirt. They've got like 4 different ones. They've got one with the orange and white coveralls. They've got one that's really cool. That's an Ole Miss one. That's an Alabama one. You got those hats that say Oxford and Starkville on them. That's a Mississippi State one. That's a Tennessee one. All kind of hats. Now, look, they better get to work and start making hats like that say Gainesville, Athens, Baton Rouge, Fayetteville. A little bit of trivia here. Now, my dad was a young child when the Southeastern Conference was founded in 1933, and he's one of the listeners, viewers who can remember this. But of the 10, this is a trivia question here. If someone can type it in if they want to get it right. Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. The Power Hour, Monday morning today. Those are Anderson Bean boots, Mercedes boots, great looking stuff. You can't get better than this stuff.
Rob's putting his boots on right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something, man. Awesome. We were out there again Saturday. Great looking women's clothing, boots, over 7,000 pairs. So glad to have Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. HewlettandDunn.com. You see the QR code on there. All right, trivia question. Of the original 10 members of the Southeastern Conference, only one school today still uses the name, because back in the old days, and history will prove it, they used to say the schools by their name. Knoxville beats Tuscaloosa 17-14 in a thriller. Starkville 28, Oxford 27, Baton Rouge 14, and Lexington 10. Only one school still uses the name of the town where they're from and the university simultaneously, as JR says on Hee Haw, JW, at the same damn time. What school is that, Bo Carter? For a steamer pack of crystals, with or without cheese, that's your call.
I'm gonna take a wild guess. Vanderbilt and Nashville. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Brendan, you want to take a guess? No Googling, please.
Oh, I don't even know the question. I wasn't paying attention to you, Rob. I learned to just tune you out.
It's like we were playing trivia up at this
All right, what's
bar.
the question? What's the question?
Of the original 10 founding members of the Southeastern Conference in 1933,
Yep.
only one school still, back then they used to call the schools by their names. Like Knoxville was what they called Tennessee, and Tuscaloosa was what they called Alabama. The old writers. Old writers talking Grantland Rice's grandfather. Okay.
Yes.
Only one school still uses
Gutenberg
the name
press
of
writing.
Yes, the Gutenberg press.
Yeah,
only one school still uses that name today. It's very simple.
Oh, so you're saying that one school uses just the name of like they did before?
Yeah, the town and the university are the same name.
Well, now I'm feeling stupid, but
it just came to me, but that's okay.
Not Tuscaloosa. So
3, 2.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. No,
Nope.
It's not Georgia.
Tough question. Tough crowd.
I'm trying to go through all the 16 teams. No, I don't know.
Bo?
I guess Auburn. I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
After I thought about it for
guys,
15
what's the
minutes.
problem? You guys are like not on my radar.
Hey, a steamer pack of crystals, Bo. The next time we see each other, which will be at media days, do they have crystal in Dallas?
Unfortunately, I have White Castle and all those others, but we will.
You know what, Rob? I drove by this the other day, and when I was missing in action. Rob got a concerned parenting moment, Bo.
Amber Alert.
He couldn't find me this weekend. He put an Amber Alert out on me.
I was like, buddy, have you heard from Brendan? I was like, where is he?
And I'll tell you what, this is where I was right here. Just so you know, there's a whole new White Castle, and they made it into a castle.
Wow.
As you can see, that's like 50 feet up, and that's a whole brand new White Castle for you, Rob.
Good.
Well, you know what? I just got another one from a viewer down in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. You know, of the original 13 members, there's another one. He's right, and I thought about this one, but I didn't use them because of they're not current. Sewanee.
Oh, that's right.
And by the way, Sewanee plays on the oldest continuously used football field in America. The same football field, over 130 years old. If you want to see a great documentary, Norman Jetmanson and his business partner, David Cruz, over in Oxford, Mississippi. Norman's an attorney in Birmingham, a member of the Monday Morning Birmingham Quarterback Club, did Sewanee 1899 Unrivaled.org. Order a copy of that DVD. It will restore your faith in
ACDC.
America. No, DVD.
PCP.
Yeah, it'll restore your faith, though, in America, college football, and the greatest game on earth that we love. All right, Bo, let's get down to business. Wesley, thank you so much for that one, Sewanee, because I did say Sewanee, but I couldn't put them in there. But of the members, Sewanee, Georgia Tech, and Tulane, all three are always welcome. They have that right to come back to the Southeastern Conference should they ever desire. Bo, let's talk about the College World Series. Winner take all tonight. You've been watching a lot, man. My back is sore. Yesterday I was squirming around. It was just unbelievable game.
Yeah, you really. It's going down as Jim Schlossnagel, the A&M coach, said yesterday. It's always great to be playing the last game of college baseball this season. You started around February 17th, and it's just going to come to an end tonight. But really impressed with Tennessee's pitching yesterday. They had not been pitching particularly well in some of Evansville beat them in one game 10-8 in Knoxville, but he got the right combination. Frank Anderson, the pitching coach at Tennessee, is a long time. He was the head coach at Oklahoma State and assistant coach at Texas Tech for about 15 years. So he's guy's a pretty genius pitching coach. So if it comes down to a game of arms tonight, I think Tennessee might have the advantage.
Watching that game, it was 6 2/3 innings. That guy Cortez for Texas A&M, he made himself a lot of money, didn't he?
He really did. He's throwing hard. He's throwing it all over the place. And he had a lot of 3-1 and 2-0 counts. But I think he struck out 9 of the first 15 guys he faced. But that guy, he was not used a great deal this year or whatever. And A&M's had a ton of injuries. We talked about it earlier. Braden Montgomery, they're one of their best hitters, is out with a broken leg, and they've had quite a few people get dinged up, but they're bandaged up and ready to go tonight, I guess.
Well, watching it on the color TV yesterday was quite an experience. And Tennessee, my theory was, talking to a lot of people after Tennessee lost, I said, it reminded me a lot of the Atlanta Braves last year. Hottest team in baseball. Then they had to set those bats down for a week because they won their division, while the Phillies kept on playing, kept their bats hot. Which is going to cook food faster, the preheated oven or starting from scratch? Tennessee's a hot bat team, but that guy Drew Beam, talk about him. Hell of a pitcher.
Really, he throws fastballs. The one amazing thing about Tennessee, Chase Burns was one of their aces for a couple of years, and then transferred to Wake Forest, and he went 13-2 this year. So, man, if they'd had Burns, they would have probably they might be 66-0 right now or whatever. But they've done a great job. I mean, Vitello hits the transfer portal very well every year. They get the key guys, and Christian Moore's having an unbelievable with 32 or 33 home runs. And I think they're the first team, or maybe one of two, to have 5 guys with 20 or more home runs. In fact, they're close in on LSU's. LSU has a record of 187 team home runs in 1 year, and I think Tennessee's up to 182 now. So they'll have to hit 6 tonight to break them, but I wouldn't put it past them. They've got a power hitting team.
Well, LSU hit 188 in 1997. I remember watching that game in Hilton Head, actually out by the pool where we were over at Hilton Head, one of the hottest places on earth. Got there, went for a run. Said I'm gonna go do like a 3 or 4 mile quick run because I flew over there. I don't know, we drove, and I was just wanted to get loose. Got lost, ended up running for an hour and a half. I asked them, I said, I'm staying at the Hilton or something like that, and they said, son, Hilton owns half this island. Which one? I'm like, the Marriott or something like that. And I said, I don't know. It was I ran about a half marathon. But
now, Rob, I've gotten lost in Vegas from my hotel room. But I've never gotten lost in Hilton Head sober on a jog and then asked for the Hilton Hotel.
Yeah. I didn't realize they owned half the island.
Ever.
Yeah. It was Hilton or Marriott. They own, and we were staying down by the Quarter Deck, which is a great restaurant, and they serve the Low Country stew over there in South Carolina. Look, I'll tell you what, guys, I love this. I hate that it's going to end tonight. It just restores our faith. I don't care what you hear. You watch the news, you listen, you get on social media, and a lot of it's the gutter of humanity. It really is. This is the greatest country in the world with the best people. These A&M fans, these Tennessee fans are unbelievable. Good God almighty. I'm just wondering which fan base will go the most insane if they win tonight. You got to guess? I mean, what are they? I mean, look at they've taken over Nebraska.
And
yeah, I think
the Yankees
they're so weird and crazy.
They are. It's like somebody said it was like a cult, Rob, but it's not really.
Listen. I've got a lot of A&M. I got a lot of A&M people that watch this show, and I tell myself people think Auburn's a cult. Rolling Toomer's corner and all this stuff. We're all kind of weird or crazy, but that's okay. What's the great line in the Waylon Jennings song? I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. And I mean, a good time and man in love with a good time and a woman.
Good time.
It's okay. It's okay to be, because you know what? It's good to think big. Doug Dean said it on this show Friday. If you don't make big plans, how are big things going to happen to you? But Jim Schlossnagel, man, what would it be like to have some kraut and a brat and a good German beer with that guy? Is he wired?
He's one of the North Carolina Germans from over there, but he's
one of them North Carolina Germans. Those guys.
Mecklenburg
County. That's where my great grandfather lived.
Those guys.
You've got to watch out.
By the way, if you ever go to Charlotte and you go to the Mecklenburg Beer Garden, Mecklenburg County.
Mecklenburg?
Yeah, it's Charlotte. My great grandfather lived in Charlotte. briefly for a while. Mecklenburg. He named one of his sons Meck, short for Mecklenburg. He had 15 children. Only 8 survived.
But this is not
back then it was tough.
of the Carl Mecklenburg Bronco outside. I think it's outside linebacker. Yeah, not that Mecklenburg.
I don't think so.
I mean, I grew up a Broncos diehard. So.
And he did. And Bo, I'm telling you, he's right about it. Look, Fredericksburg, Texas. That's where down there, New Braunfels. Looking at what I'm seeing right now, college baseball. Tonight's matchup, kind of strengths and weaknesses, Aggies, Vols.
Well, again, Tennessee dangerous every time they come up to play. They've got 7 or 8 guys that can rip it out, and a big ballpark over there. Which I think all 5 runs yesterday were as a result of homers. But the coaches are emphasizing keep it down, keep it in the park or whatever. And again, on paper, I think Tennessee might be the better team at this point of the season. A&M, like you were saying, got hot there at the right time and was playing great baseball. They're the number 3 seed. Tennessee's the number 1 seed, and then Kentucky was the number 2 seed.
Exactly.
Got to Omaha this year, but it's going to be, and 7 of the top 8 seeds made it, which is really interesting. And even stranger, Miami is the only number 1 seed since they started. Expanded the tournament in 1999, the first year they expanded to 64 teams as one. So it might be the curse of the number 1 seed for Tennessee tonight. I don't know.
All right, quick question. In 97, you had Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, and LSU all went to the College World Series. After that, there began to be pressure to try to break up the SEC's stranglehold. Is that why they did that in 99 specifically? And it really hadn't worked. It's only made the SEC stronger.
No. And, I think that, of course, there have been 280, 290, 300 teams in D1. Yeah. And actually, Tennessee State, Sadding and LaSalle is bringing back baseball next year. So with all the NCAA house versus NCAA, all the financial, Rob, you're going to have to Rob. We got to get private equity from Rob, but to Brendan to keep college athletics going here. But hopefully,
I think there'll be plenty. I think they're waiting and circling like sharks because I think they know the money's there and they're going to let it fail.
Oh, yeah, you've already got the All-State Big 12 conference coming up. So.
That's what it's going to be.
We'll have to have the Morgan Stanley SEC or something, Rob.
Wait, it is officially now All-State at Big 12.
No, they proposed it. They in fact, someone said they took Brett Yormark, the commissioner, took a thing they were going to call it the United Conference last year to just get a new name set with 14 teams. And for about 9 years, they were the Big 12 with 10 teams. The Big 10 was the Big 12, and the Big 12 was the Big 10. So
16 or 18, whatever.
Sorry to get off point, but you're right.
Well, I'm going to get off point. I was listening to my friend Chuck Oliver's show, Southern Sports Today. It's on Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Chuck was at Auburn when I was there. He's a little bit younger than me. Great show. They're talking about, did y'all know this? That Mike Elko, Texas A&M's new football coach, in his contract, which is like a 6-year, $42 million deal, there is a clause in there that we were told that says, in the event of catastrophic changes in the college athletics landscape, we reserve the right to renegotiate your contract downward. And Chuck said, hey, would you be willing to work for $1 million less or $2 million less a year, or do you just want to take your buyout? That's where we're going. And Tyler Siskey, who was on our show Friday morning on the Friday Football Roundtable, longtime assistant, he worked with Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss, Nick Saban at Alabama. He's been around at Arkansas State, all over. He said there are going to be a lot of patient athletic directors, Bo and Brendan. Not so quick. He said, Jimbo, he'd still be there. A long time.
No, you're right. And the other thing too, Rob, at the SEC meetings in Destin a few weeks ago, the coaches said they would actually take pay cuts or use part of their salary to allow walk-on. The NCAA is about to put a player limit on not just 85 scholarships, but how many walk-ons you can have in the program. One time Nebraska, Brendan remembers Nebraska had like their walk-on 250 people in 2 JV teams or whatever too. So, and what was the Kiwanis Club and the Rotary Club in every town sponsored their favorite son to go there. So, I mean, they got quite a few future NFL players, et cetera, out of that. So,
have you ever been to Nebraska?
Yes, many times.
So now you know.
But you're right. I mean, there are going to be some creative ways to sort of keep college financing and let the walk-ons be walk-ons again.
It's just there's too much at stake, and I think that in the end of the day, we'll see that'll be the reset that we talk about is the entrance of that money. And I see as soon as the universities take over the money part of it, I think that's again where we're going to see everything sort of go back with lawyers behind closed doors. Deals will be cut and made, and I think we'll end up with sponsorship. The SEC brought you in part by and we'll see like billboards are going across.
Well, you've already got it on the radio broadcast. Every time they score, we give $500 to St. Jude or whatever. We got that.
Right. But the
question is, are the uniforms going to have logos?
Yep.
Well, they pay for the rights to broadcast,
and
then they get X amount of ads that they can run or whatever per whatever agreement is.
Well, what you could see, now look, I remember years ago, Pat Dye did a commercial with Jimmy Rain for Yellowwood Lumber, and it was from the press box, and it was the camera shot was down at the goal line, and it was a fence built along the goal line, and Pat Dye looks at Jimmy Rain, he goes, reckon they'll let me keep this? And it was a fence, like a defense, I like that. I'm trying to get Jimmy Rain on this show. I really would like to get him. You talk about a guy who's recreating a town, Abbeville, Alabama, on 431. Guy's amazing. Pressure treated pine. I mean, you see Yellowwood everywhere. All right. In another interesting thing, you're talking. Brendan brought it up about Nebraska. A little bit of the Platte River is some of the best sandhill crane hunting in America. If you like that, okay, I'm just saying. So, but there's a lot to do in Nebraska. Omaha is becoming
for you.
Yeah,
not for me.
But Pacific Life has a huge operations center there in Omaha too. I've worked with them for years with Dave Lusk and people like that. But I thinking about this renegotiating contracts, and then I've been saying this for a while. If you're paying a coach $8 or $10 million a year, are the coaches going to get these salaries where they say, okay, here's your deal. You're the head coach. It's like you're running a company. This is your budget. Out of that, you have to pay all your assistants and NIL and everything. Do like that. Think about where we're going, because I'm trying to get Chuck Oliver on here.
I'm sorry, but I think what you're saying is, Rob, and I think, and I just wanted to jump into this particular point because
feel free.
Here's what's going to happen, and I'm telling you this because I see it in business, and I see it in corporate big business now, and we're seeing it everywhere, is that people are being laid off slowly, trickle down in departments like, first of all, they're cutting like marketing departments, and they're cutting budgets for marketing agencies, and they're cutting copyright department, and they're cutting it all for AI. Right, because one person can run 10 jobs with AI. Now, is it effective? We're not getting into that. I'm just saying they've already gone to that model. We're seeing it, like real estate. I mean, look, honestly, you're selling houses right now. You need to be thinking about a 10-year plan because you're not going to have a job. It's going to be sold by AI online. That's it. So we're seeing this. I think what we would see, Rob, in that particular sort of model is a good thing, because I think the coaches would say, my bonus lives at the end of this rainbow, and how much can I save, if I get my lump sum of cash at the end of the day, and you're going to see these guys doing things like, well, I don't need 45 analysts when I can get some AI. And I told you this on the phone the other day, Rob, at the end, you saw this at the end of the Super Bowl this year. One of the last commercials was the NFL AI, where they said, They have inputted every play from every player of every snap of every game ever in the NFL, and now they put it into the AI, and they have this predictive software based upon that. You don't think that matters? I mean, look, we are creatures of habit. So I'm just saying that whole umbrella right there. I would see. But you think Billy Napier is going to have 45 analysts up in the booth anymore? He's like, well, no. I mean, that's my money in my back of my pocket. Let's get some computers in here, some young kids, and do some of the math. That's just my opinion.
Well, Bo.
Well, and I was going to say, Brendan, you're right on spot on. Major League Baseball has, like tons rooms full. I think the Dodgers were the first, but rooms full of guys just analytics, crunching numbers, and it's got to be. It's like a computer game now, or a EA.
Well, yeah, we saw that. Franz, we're talking about that with Moneyball, right? When we saw the movie for the first time, where people really started to believe in this concept. Who was the was it the Cardinals? Who came up with that whole concept, Franz?
The Oakland A's.
But he got it from somewhere. Did Billy Bean got it from somebody else? Oh no, he got it from the kid. All right, that's right.
He got it from this young fellow that was working with the Red Sox.
Right.
And the Red Sox had no interest in him,
and
he had and he saw. Here's the thing that bothers me, guys, is we've gotten so much into analytics that we're letting the computers take the game over and not going. I personally liked it back in the days when human error. I like replay, for example, on the base paths and stuff like that in baseball. But here's the deal. I think that baseball and football and basketball should have a rule. And that is you got 2 minutes to figure it out. And if you can't change it in 2 minutes, then the rule stands. I don't care how many times that somebody goes through it 55 other times and finds an angle that says, okay, the guy's foot was this much inbound. I don't care.
Yeah. Hey, look, we can't. Franz is right. When you go to games now, if you get the 11 o'clock or the 2:30 game in the South in September and October, I mean, it's like those old Western movies when the Indians would capture the cowboys out there and bury you up to your head in the sand and then shave off your eyebrows and you just burn to death looking at the sun. I mean, it was brutal. And I think where all this talk about AI, on one hand, it can scare you. On the other hand, it's like, well, let me tell you something. Somebody's got to fix all those machines. And you will have – there'll be changes, but I think it's going to happen. What's going to happen is all these – you're going to start having unlimited coaches as well. Like right now, what is it? A total of 10 coaches, paid coaches. Then you've got an analyst behind the scenes. Well, look, Auburn brought in TJ Rushing for the defensive backs coach. He was with Durkin, Auburn's defensive coordinator at A&M. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But I think the most significant thing in here is what I've been saying is that we're going to have a lot of Kirby Smart is an incredible coach. I won't be shocked if in 2 or 3 years he doesn't say enough. This is insane. I'm out. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not predicting it, but he's an example of someone who works so hard. You've got to give people downtime. I mean, your body, all this 5-hour energy is a bunch of crap. It's for people that stay up all night, binge watching TV, and then their body's not rested, yet they think that they're alert by taking, a caffeine jolt. I mean, I remember back in the late 80s, Jolt Cola came out. And people said, Brown, don't touch that. You're already jolted. But,
no, Brown, don't touch
that. I really think we're going to start seeing coaches work in the future. We won't have these established guys. Franz was on here with John Brady and former Samford, Arkansas State, LSU coach, took him to the Final Four at LSU. I said, Coach, what'd you make your first job coaching? And he kind of put his head down and goes, I'm embarrassed. It's 15,000 my first 3 years. But see, he rose through the ranks. He worked his way up. Anything worth having in life is worth fighting for. And so we think, it's always darkest before dawn. AI is going to take over. Nobody's going to have a job. That ain't going to happen. I believe in the free market. You want to bet against America? You want to bet against the American people? You go right ahead.
Okay.
Go right ahead. You want to bet? I'll take the American people. I'll
take AI. You take the American people.
Where's the
I got both my bet.
Where's the Hooterville band?
I am in Simpletown. Simpletown is my town.
I got AI. I take ChatGPT 4. You get everything else.
Boom.
Hey, Franz, I told this, and I'm going to set this up because I just, and Ben Troupe just came here. I want to say this name to you, Bo, and to Franz. I said it to Rob. The future of coaching is, I think, a guy named Mike McDaniel, head coach for the Miami Dolphins, because he is this new player, all player kind of coach. He's the a la, a little bit of Nick Saban, a lot of Lane Kiffin, but then he's Ivy League, right? And then he's got, and his press conferences and all that stuff. And I'll bring in Mr. Ben Troupe as I say that, but I just wanted to throw that up to you. Morning, Ben. How are you? I just feel like we're going to see more Mike McDaniels.
Well, player, coaches, here's where things have got to change. And, we're coming into an era where, they're going to pay Kirby Smart $12 million. I guarantee you the starting left tackle who's out there grinding it out. It's 100 degrees outside. The humidity's 92%. He is sweating, and he's thinking, you know what? I may stop sweating sometime around 3 a.m., because it's so hot out here. And he's going to start thinking, and Kirby's making $12 million. How much of that could go to me to give me an ice bath at home so I'd stop sweating? And we have created this monster. Now, I'm all for people getting paid what they're worth, okay? But is there a coach that's really worth $12 million? I don't know.
It's relative.
These guys would coach for $100,000.
Yeah,
that's what they want to do.
Franz, this is what you got to say. Like people said, and I'm gonna throw this to Ben and then back to Bo, and then we're gonna bounce around. We're gonna go rapid fire Monday here in a second. But people say Nick Saban was paid $10 million at Alabama, Ben, relative to the student enrollment, which used to be less than 16,000 students at Tuscaloosa. Then it got bigger. Now they're pushing 40,000. Okay. I go to Tuscaloosa quite a bit. Home of the May Veterinary Clinic, one of our sponsors. 40,000 plus. The growth in Tuscaloosa. So you're paying him $10 million, and the university's bringing in an extra $500 million. That's pretty damn good ROI. Ben Troupe from Swainsboro, Georgia, small town, moved to the big city of Augusta. Now lives in one of the first grid cities in America, an engineering marvel, one of the best guys you'll ever meet, the badass with the beads and the good looking, a different hat, by the way, I might add. But Ben, how are you? But answer my question. I'm drinking the coffee. I'm jolted. The hell with AI. I believe in the American people. I believe in Ben Troupe.
even to touch on real quick, what Smoke said, Brendan said, Mike McDaniels is a one of one. It's the thing about Mike McDaniels is Mike McDaniels' system worked because of the people who's working.
Smoke!
What's up?
I heard my name. I just came in.
It's like this. If me and you gonna race, and I'm giving you the option of two Ferraris, in a Lamborghini, you're gonna have a really, really good shot of winning that race. That's what you have to deal with. I think the thing.
What are you taking? Because I want the Ferrari. If you're gonna take the Lambo,
I'm gonna take whichever one I can fit in, and I'm gonna drive it, and I'm gonna get on out and hope that.
Well, I'm 6'4" by the way, just so you know.
That's what I'm saying. So whichever ones we can fit in, that I got good liability insurance and things of that nature. But the thing about Nick Saban is, we are talking about the one of one. We're talking about a guy that branding is simple as this. Give me a brand ambassador that can attract people who don't even know what he does. They know who he is. There are people who don't know what Nick Saban does, but they know who he is. Well, that's the guy from Alabama. Well, that comes with a price. Most coaches, most players, they walk in the room with a name tag and you don't know who they are. So when you talk about Nick Saban is famous. He's a celebrity. Like he can go anywhere Nick Saban goes to a Walgreens and in a small town Mississippi. That's Nick Saban right there. Most people, Mike McDaniel, people don't know who Mike McDaniel is in Miami.
And they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah. So the whole thing about it is when we get to talking about these coaches making money, only college football can make you care about a guy named Kirby and Dabo. Only college football can do that, right? And that's fine. I'm not. But there's a thing about a Kirby. Kirby can become Dabo real quick. Because once you get to the mountaintop, people expect that every. Is a coach worth $12 million? Yes and no. Yes, because he negotiated, and no, because it's going to be really, really hard to tell your assistant coaches, your players, your trainers, "Hey man, we ain't got no money left." You know what I'm saying? So listen, I'm happy for Kirby.
You're fired.
Happens, but it just
my point exactly.
Yeah. Hi. But Ben, you're right. That's a damn good point about. We don't care. I mean, there's a certain Opie Taylorness to Dabo Swinney. I mean, just golly. He's from Pelham, Alabama. Got a great story. I love the guy. I mean, what he's done. But adapt or die. Bo Carter, you were at Mississippi State a long time. Then you're a Vanderbilt graduate from the Quad Cities, and you go to the Southwest Conference. You were there. It wasn't your fault. There was some malfeasance at SMU with players.
No.
A few liberties were taken. I'll admit. A few
Really?
liberties.
Come on.
I am not a crook. Richard Nixon famously said. So tell me, Bo Carter, what was it like when the Southwest Conference, was put to bed? I mean, did anybody see it, or did you say it's going to happen and it happened? What was it like?
Well, honestly, Ben knows this. SMU is just 40 years ahead of its time on the NIL play.
Yes.
They jumped the gun by 2 generations.
Yeah.
Now, that's what somebody
They were
else
pioneers.
Now it's legal NIL, but when Arkansas left in 91, you could kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit, and they tried to get Tulane and a couple of other, maybe a school or two like that, but Texas kind of put the nix on that because I think they knew that maybe the Big 8 Southwest Conference merger was coming up in 3 or 4 years. So it was a sort of a slow death. But one quick comment about Mike McDaniels: he's the idol of all us nerds out there. The guy, he wears glasses. Looks like Professor McDaniels from the Dartmouth engineering class.
Would you hear his watch story when he bought like the $20,000 billion watch when he had like no money, and he's like, "I just went all in, boys. I bought this. I might be bankrupt, but that might be it."
Well, but here's the thing, Bo. Real quick, I'm going to bounce it to Franz and then back to Ben. Okay, is it true that when Frank Broyles in 1989 was smart enough, he was the greatest athletic director of all time. They called him Big Daddy in Arkansas. Georgia Tech grad, played for Bobby Dodd. Did he really go play golf in Birmingham with the SEC officials to try to plant the seed? Because in 91, they joined in 92. The story I heard was the Big 12 was not going to invite Arkansas to join. And I'm not saying this. This was what I read, a quote. It was something like Arkansas would have been left at the kids' table with SMU and some other schools while the Big 12 flourished. And Broyles, golf is a great game, by the way, to seal the deal. That and duck hunting and great food. But is that what happened, Bo? And then I want to throw it back over to Franz.
Kind of sort of, Coach Boyles never met a golf game he didn't like. And Franz remembers this. Florida State was going to be the 12th team. And I guess the Gators sort of said, and Brendan probably, they said, and Ben, they said, we don't want the Noles in the SEC. I mean, it wasn't that cut and dried, but I think
they didn't want none of it.
Yeah, South Carolina backed into the 12th team.
FSU was invited. They said no.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So it's there were all kinds of stuff. You could see the stuff that all happened in 95, 96 coming to fruition at that time. I mean, and TV was, as everybody knows, TV was driving it all. So it's now we're seeing it all over. Every time there's a year of TV negotiations, the college football world turns upside down.
Franz, Bobby Bowden famously said in 92 something like, "There's more than one way to skin a cat." We're going to bounce this around because I got some footballs, a lot of stuff to cover. Did you want him in the league at that time, or would it be just bringing sand to the beach?
No, I would have preferred for them to come in, and I would have preferred to have FSU and Miami, who were both invited before Arkansas, and Arkansas was the number 3 pick, but that came after FSU said no. Bobby Bowden said we can win national championships in the ACC, and he was right. He would have had a much more difficult time in the SEC, and Miami was in the Big East. And they thought that their run was never going to end. And of course, then they had the lean years before Butch Davis and some kind Miami boosters, let's say, it became NIL pioneers and so forth like that. But, I think everybody was glad to see Arkansas come in because of Frank Broyles. Former Florida assistant, Frank Broyles. We were glad to see that. The thing that we wanted in the SEC, those of us who really were into it, was we were not pulling to bring FSU in, but when the word came out that they were doing it, we were for it, okay, because FSU had become a powerhouse. Yeah. When we understood that Roy Kramer was going to expand by 2 teams, what we wanted was Texas and Arkansas. Mm-hmm. That's what we wanted. And Texas would have come, except the Texas legislature said, you can only come if you bring the Aggies, and we didn't want the damned Aggies. We still don't want the damned Aggies.
Oh, now, friends, play nice.
But they're going to win the national championship tonight in spite of us.
I agree.
Look,
what is that? That looks like a bad CU buff shirt.
It's not Halloween yet. Why you got that up?
I'm married to Evolve for life, man. I don't want to sleep on the floor. But I'm in the interest of objectivity, Franz, I did not know Ben Troupe. I got to ask you this, Franz. I did not know that you wanted is it bringing sand to the beach or whatever? Franz, I got to ask you, Ben. You've played in that rivalry, Florida State, Florida. That's a nasty ass rivalry. And so I've been to the Florida State Miami game down in Miami, and I had to speak Spanish to get in. I had 4 tickets. 4 tickets. Our friend who was an official left for me at this resort in Key Biscayne, Florida, and we got beard up and missed our ride to the hotel and didn't have tickets, and we had to buy tickets from scalpers to get into that game. Holy cow, that was scary. But Ben, you've played in that rivalry, SEC, ACC. You grew up. You're the only guy I know, I promise you, that had 3 kids in his neighborhood besides yourself that played big time SEC football. Why does everybody try to say there's such a marked difference? Is it the players themselves, or is it the depth, the 2 and 3s on the front 7s and on offense and defense? Kind of get us into that mindset. Big Ben Troupe, 84 reasons why, but just don't have to give us 84.
I would just say that I think the biggest difference between the ACC and the SEC is you can go undefeated in the ACC and not get in the college football playoffs. I mean, I don't.
Whoa!
I'm just saying, and the thing is, right? The ACC is top heavy, but it is top heavy from this reason. I mean, Clemson was holding up the ACC for about 4 or 5 years, right? When you talk about Trevor Lawrence, we talk about Watson, right? When Miami has never won ACC, Miami has never won it.
Nor will they.
Nor will they. And here's the thing. When you start needing help from, I don't know, like the thing about the ACC is, Florida State is obviously going to be very, 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 very tradition rich. You see what they do and things of that nature. But when we talk about Brandon earlier, we talk about Mike McDaniel, we talk about Nick Saban. If I think I am a huge brand nationally, only the voters will decide that, right? And I think the thing about with these mergers now, with these teams coming over, Florida State and Clemson thought they had a different level of brand equity that they thought they really did when it came to where they're going to go. Because the only team in the ACC that everybody wants is Notre Dame. They are the only team that everybody wants. But Notre Dame says, we don't need a conference. I know we contractually obligated every other sport not named football to play in the ACC, but we play the regular season, we go home. So I think that for me, when you talk about ACC teams, it's more perception than reality. Because if there were ACC teams that wanted to come to the SEC, you have to be the University of Virginia, University of North Carolina. Because the thing about it is the ACC is built different. They got big cities that these schools, Tallahassee, Miami. SEC got small cities, Tuscaloosa, Gainesville. You want to keep that. We got college towns compared to big cities. So I mean, Florida State to me, I was like most. I thought their brand was much bigger than it was. 2023 showed them it ain't what you think it is. Because even if your quarterback gets hurt, you still should make it in. I think that Jordan Travis going out and getting hurt kept them out of the the college football playoff. Not saying they were going to do well if they would have got in, but I didn't think that one player would keep you out.
Yeah, and let me say this about Florida State last year, and I don't dislike Florida State. I followed them a long time. As a kid in March of 1976, during spring break, drove over from Destin to
Florida
Tallahassee.
State.
I wrote, my mother said, go with your father from Destin during spring break in March of 1976. She said, because he'll fall asleep. My dad's a confirmed narcoleptic, by the way. And she goes, he's got to go to Tallahassee, which wasn't that far from Destin, to meet with the athletic director about building facilities. My dad designed a lot of athletic facilities around the country over the years. So we go over there for 3 hours. I'm walking around that campus by myself. I'm like a little kid. And I come back. I go, how was it? He goes, well, they've said they've hired this football coach that they hung on the town square and beat like a pinata named Bobby Bowden. I'll never forget this. And they said they're going to play anybody, anytime, anywhere, blah, blah, blah. There you go. So my question is, Ben, and all of y'all, 31 players. I'm going to tell you something. I have been told since birth by my mother, who always says, have I ever given you any bad advice, Rob Jr.? I'm like, no, ma'am. She goes, damn right. You don't quit. And all those guys for Florida State that didn't show up in Georgia, WWE style curb stomped them. It was embarrassing. That's embarrassing to your brand. And Ben, I guarantee you, if I was your teammate, I would not want to go to you and say, I ain't playing in that damn game. You'd probably put me through a couple of lots. I mean, and you should. I remember stories about Tracy Rocker when I was at Auburn, Outland and Lombardi Trophy winning defensive lineman at Auburn. The things he used to say to teammates at halftime if they weren't putting out, and the decorum prohibits, famously, I'll just say, you got to have that kind of stuff. Bo, along the lines of what Ben and Franz just said, the SEC is an exclusive club. People want to be a part of it. But at the same time, I don't want to see the ACC and all these other conferences disappear. It's good for the morale of the country. Bo, you're a great writer. Florida fans, why wasn't Jack Caglione on the Golden Spikes Award? With all the due respect that you've earned as a member of the National Football Foundation, Baseball Writers of America, Charlie Condon, not a bad guy. And we were told recently he was going to walk on at Rhodes College to play football and baseball. And he goes to Georgia, and look how that turned out. But I'll still say this. I'll take Jack Caglione because he can pitch, too. I don't know if he'll do both. Why don't we see both in the majors? They're worried about their hands getting hit?
I don't know. Well, you got Ohtani, who's not going to pitch this year, but he broke the mold there a little bit. I got him. Brooks Kieschnick from Texas in the 90s, came, pitched and played the other thing. By the way, Rob, you'll like this. Condon comes from his dad's an Auburn grad and his mother's a Vanderbilt grad. So the parentage makes
that's
the
even
difference.
more painful.
And we talked about it when we were up in Omaha when he won the Dick Hauser Trophy. He played at a small school in Marietta, the Walker School or something. And they didn't get a lot. I mean, they played like 10 baseball games a year, and he played travel ball, et cetera. But interesting deal is his dad learned it was more of like a basketball football guy. He had to get a manual out to teach him how to coach Little League baseball, and he ended up doing a pretty good job there or whatever too. So,
the kid's 6'6",
yeah, he could play any number of sports, but once he fills out a little bit, and like Caglione has, those two guys are going to be in the majors for a while, I think.
Kerry Jones, Lebanon, Tennessee. Why did the FSU Chickens cross the road to join the ACC? Ooh. Man, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing: is when it became obvious that we weren't going to get Texas and Arkansas, those were Florida State and Miami were the first choices, obviously, because that would have They were, you look at that point in time, Miami had already won like 4 national championships. So Miami was hot, and getting them into the SEC would have been a big deal because the SEC, people forget, had not won a national championship in football since Georgia in 1980. That was the last time the SEC had won. So getting Miami would have been a big deal. FSU was right there with Miami, so getting them there was a big deal. When that collapsed, the idea was to get Arkansas and Texas. When that collapsed, Roy Kramer had Plan C, and Plan C was to get Arkansas and South Carolina. And I think most everybody was happy with Arkansas because we knew Frank Broyles, we knew the history of the football. Basketball was big with Nolan Richardson at the time. Their track program was the best in America at the time. And so that was a big deal then to get them. South Carolina, we looked at them and said, they've never won a championship in anything.
That's right.
They were co-champions of the ACC in 1969 with Wake Forest with a 7-4 record. Only I can remember something
Tommy Suggs was the quarterback. I had to write about them, guys.
Friends, you and I, we have the minds.
President Paul Dietzel was the head coach.
Paul.
And trust me, if you went to old Williams Stadium, this is before the Bryces came in there, and it was old Williams Stadium, which was right there by the fairgrounds, and you were always. Remember the big fire there at Auburn?
I was there in 1996. LSU beat us 19-15. Terrible game.
Well, we were always afraid in the press box at South Carolina that someone's going to light the stadium on fire and we were going to get fried.
Hey,
this
by
is
the way,
before
Franz,
the expansion.
Franz. But wait, I didn't mean to. Bo Carter, tell Franz the story about the time legendary voice of Mississippi State University, Jack Crystal, and the Maroon and White did the game in Gainesville, the air conditioning in the press box. It didn't work. It was so hot. They did it in their underwear.
France, they didn't have air conditioning. France can remember this for a long time. And,
we still don't.
They don't.
What are you talking about?
They want you to get the feel of the game. They want you to get the feel of the game.
Ben, I got to ask Ben Troupe. Okay, you heard what Franz just said, and this is awesome, these stories. Now, again, as a player, you talk about these games, Miami, Mario Cristobal. Tyler Siskey was on the show with us Friday. He's good friends with a lot of these coaches like Billy Napier. They coached together at Alabama. He coached with, Mario Cristobal. He knows him well. That first game coming up, it's going to be here before we know it. Miami at Florida. And go back to 1983, it was 27-3. I remember seeing the bumper stickers down at the beach. Florida 27, national champions 3. How big is that game? And I know we're SEC Sideline Sports Network and SECU, the Buddy Martin Show, the best Fridays in football with Urban Meyer and Buddy Martin. But there's tectonic plates here. We're connected to all these schools. The talent in the state of Florida is incredible. How good is Miami? And let's talk about that Florida matchup because we're getting there, man. We are. You know how many days away we are? 68 days away.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start a college football season.
I mean, we're gonna see how good Miami is. I think Mario Cristobal is real. In the same boat. As Billy Napier. When you start talking about the fact that you talk about a game that neither team can afford to lose, but somebody's gonna have to lose.
Yeah.
Because Florida's schedule is crazy. When you talk about having to build momentum, that first that first 6 weeks we be talking about all the time, friends.
Yeah.
They got to get 4-2, 5-1 because that back half of the season, is just as brutal. When you talk about a Mario Cristobal, though, I mean, it's unfair to him too because I don't know what legacy he's trying to live up to. He's not trying to live up to that Big East legacy because he cannot do that. And right now in the ACC, since Miami's been in the ACC, they've been 18, not one of the teams. They've been 18. In the ACC, so I don't even know. Well, Mario, listen, I'm gonna keep saying this. Everybody wants the Steve Spurrier. You want to be able to play for the team. I want to be able to bring the team back. I want to win national championships. I want to win, Heisman trophies, and I have Heisman trophies. It's not going to happen. Not in this day and age. I think Billy Napier has a better shot for this reason. Billy Napier, it took a couple of years for him to understand what being the head coach of Florida is. It is scrutiny all the time. It's not going to be a let-up. Yeah. The only time you get to enjoy being a Florida head coach is when you leave. When you leave, you can enjoy it. Because while you're there, we're a bunch of truth tellers. People know what they're looking at. It's no longer time. People don't know, what play call is a good play call. Nobody goes forward on 4th and 1 more than Florida, and nobody doesn't get it on 4th and 1 more than Florida does. So I think for Billy Napier, and Franz knows this, look, I'm never counting anybody's money. We talk about counting money. Well, not really. We're talking about how much people make. $7-point-something million. There's a lot of money, right? And that's before you win anything at Florida. They're giving you $7 million, and you haven't won anything, which means I'm gonna keep saying this. Florida has a resume. Florida's resume, the way to boost your resume is different. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels. And then you start talking about Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson won 6 games. He got drafted number 4. Two of the other guys had to win the Heisman. The other guy went to Ohio State. Think about that. 2 guys had to win the Heisman, and the other guy went to Ohio State to get drafted over Anthony Richardson, who won 6 games. So when people talk about what can Florida do for you, ask the coaches that came through there. Ask some coaches that came through there, like Mike Locksley. Where is he? Oh, that's right. He's at Maryland, head coach. I'm telling you these type of things. So for me, I think that Florida has to get out to a good start, because the thing about Miami, and nothing against them, it's a lot of naive fans going on around here these days, and Miami fans it's rough, because for them, a lot of those fans are the dads, and it's not these kids that's going there right now, because they know nothing about you. They don't know what a 30 for 30 is. They don't. Miami used to be so. I played against the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. I played against the 2000. I played against the 2000. They played them 2000 in the Sugar Bowl. You know how that
2002 as well.
Well, 2000. Their starting receivers were Reggie Wayne, right, Andre Johnson, and Santana Moss. That's their receivers. The tight end was Jeremy Shockey. The backup was Kellen Winslow. Right, the starting running back was Clinton Portis. The backup was Frank Gore, and the third string was Willis McGahee. You're not going to beat them. The starting safeties were Ed Reed and because Sean Taylor was a back. Sean Taylor was a backup in 2000. He got 2001, 2002. I don't know. I mean, Miami is one of those teams. They're good.
Miami was an NFL team.
Yeah, Miami is very similar to Texas, right? When you talk about talent, Miami can beat anybody. But they can lose to anybody too, and it's always a head scratcher. We hope that Miami sticks to what they've done over the years, and don't get that dub that first game of the year. Because for me, and I hate to say this, if Miami loses, I mean it's not. If Florida loses, it's going to be a big deal if they lose. If Miami loses, I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal, only because if it's a "what have you done for me lately" type thing, I just think that Miami just hasn't been there as of late. Neither has Florida, by the way.
Remember 2018, Ben, when Miami came into the Citrus Bowl to play Florida, all hyped up. Everybody says Miami is going to, and Florida pulled the plug on their season. It happened.
Well, let me throw this one at you. We had a cool discussion on Friday's football roundtable with the Doug Dean and Frank Duffy and Tyler Siskey, who's going to be joining us hopefully again very soon. But we made a good point. He said, I did my dissertation when I was a GA, a doctoral dissertation, and it was about the shrinking window of time a coach has to develop. He goes, and I used as a case study, Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech. He said, his first few years, and I know I was in Roanoke, I was working in Washington. I was in Roanoke when they had his press conference. Frank Beamer, who played at Tech, when he came back, his first 6-7 years were brutal. Mm-hmm. He said, Tyler said, look at Nick Saban. In today's world of instant gratification, he would have been fired at Michigan State. And Mr. LSU Tiger, go Tigers, Frank Duffy smartly said, we would have never had him at LSU. Mm-hmm. Doug Dean replied, we would have never realized his greatness. The rest of the SEC would have lost out on getting to see Nick Saban, tongue in cheek. But I believe this about Billy Napier, and I don't know. There's two camps on him. A, he's a hell of a coach, but he inherited a mess. B, he really wants to be a coordinator, but he's not going to turn down being a head coach. Or C, I think he just what I think is he inherited. You don't fire the guy who's there if he's doing a good job. And in the world we live in now, in the SEC, it's a fact. When a wildebeest is born, a wildebeest calf on the Serengeti in Africa, they can walk within 3 minutes of birth. If they cannot, they are a finger sandwich for a lion, a cheetah, or a leopard, or crocodile, whatever. I just think Florida, the schedule, and Dennis Dodd said this on the show, guys, a couple of weeks ago. Historically, Bo, you've seen schedules. You know history. All of y'all do. It's a tough schedule. I think Florida's, and I'm not saying this just to curry favor with anybody. I just think they're going to be better than people think because how motivated do you think they are hearing every day that they're just, cannon fodder? And Billy Napier has won 41 games at Louisiana over in Lafayette. That's all I'm saying. I mean, somebody attacked this one. Let's make it like a minute. We're going to go a little overtime today. I mean, guys, we're only, if you think about it, 68 days, do the gazindas, 68 times 24, correct me if I'm wrong, is 1,632 hours away from the start of college football season, if anybody's counting. Ben Troupe, am I nuts?
Counting. No, you're not missing anything, but I think that's the difference right there. I mean, the thing about it is, look, the type of things you get the benefit of doubt for at other schools, you don't get that at Florida. The type of thing people say, hey, man, I can understand. You don't get that at Florida. I was in the ROTC when I was in high school, and the reason why I stayed in it because he was in the Marines, right? And one of the things they used to say, no matter what, it could be raining outside, it could be this outside. My sergeant major would say the same. He'll say, tough titty for the kitty, but the milk's still good. Drink the milk. He would tell us that. And I think sometimes when you come through Florida, and Franz knows this, what Franz can say to me, what Franz asks me in front of the public, he don't say the same thing in private. He can show me empathy in private, man, Ben. But when he asks me the question, Ben, what's going on? Because he has to ask me questions to let me know where I am. It's not that he ain't empathetic and sympathetic to me dropping the pass and losing the game, but I am a semi-professional. I'm not a professional yet. You at Florida, it took me 4 years to get up in there with friends, and Buddy and them. I used to walk by the main meet room. I used to stick my head like, what? Oh, they do press conferences in here? But I'm a freshman. I'm a sophomore. I'm a junior. Now, this is the thing.
Then you jumped over somebody, and look what happened.
Hey, listen, and the thing about it is, it ain't for everybody. Everybody wants the glory. Everybody wants it, but it is rough. Listen. One of my best friends in the world is Darryl Lee. He was the number one defensive end. Back when USA Today was actually credible and rep. He was a USA Today first team All-American. When he got to Florida, you know what Alex Brown told him? Stand over there, because he's not gonna play. I'm the number one defensive end in the country, and you will play when I leave because you are a USA Today first team All-American. I am a first team All-American in college football. I had 5 sacks in one game against the Tennessee Vols and a pick.
T. Martin still here's the footsteps.
Yeah. As much as I want to have empathy for him, Rob. Listen, what I say to him in private, hey, listen, I'm rooting for y'all. But when them lights come on, ain't so many people can wear that orange and blue. Yeah, and you the biggest brand in the state. So it's like at the end of the day, Rob, if I'm a client of yours, all I want to hear is results. I mean, you might not get it. I'm like, Rob, man, do I have any money left? Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to know the bottom line.
Yeah, you want return on investment. I'm going to throw something at you. And one of my buddies watching it said, hey, man, Bo's a guest on there talking about baseball. And I said, yeah, and we're talking football and all. But we talked a lot of baseball in that first part of the game, the deal. But just kind of, I love this topic, Ben. You're right. I think one of the things people are discounting is the role a coaching staff plays in toughening up the players on their team. That's critical. And like Tyler Siskey said Friday, there's so much going on that we barely can – most people are not paying attention to all the stuff going on. And Bo, it's not like everybody's sitting there in place and you're getting better and no one else is getting better. Look what they're doing, good God Almighty, in recruiting at Auburn and Alabama and LSU and Georgia. Those are 4 of your top 5 recruiting classes right now in the United States of America. I think Notre Dame, Ohio State, which, I mean, it's trick or treat up there, man. If you're a good athlete, you get all you want. But I really, this baseball game tonight, look, we got one college game left, folks. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to hold back Hoover Dam, and it's leaking because after this baseball game's over tonight, we're going to talk some baseball in the morning. I mean, this football avalanche, gentlemen, Bo, what I love is college baseball is extending because the SEC, Bo, as a writer, National Baseball Writers of America, that's doing. Are we going to crack 3 million in tonight's game? I've got a bet we're going to crack 3 million in one or more of the championship games. Can we do it?
I'm hoping so. We don't have Dancing with the Stars or something on tonight, so hopefully there's not a rival show. But no, it's these two teams first national championship for either one. 32nd team either way to win the NCAA championship in baseball since 1947. So it's a ton of history, and these teams have both had great traditions in baseball too. So it's just a so like you were saying, see which fan base goes craziest after this win tonight, I guess.
Yeah. 1951 was the last time Tennessee played for the national championship in the College World Series. Did you know Tennessee also won the national championship in college football in 1951? That was an interesting year. Franz Beard, SEC dominance across the board. The Sears Cup trophy, which is awarded to the university with the #1 athletic department overall in America. What are the standings as of this moment?
Texas is going to win it. They've already secured it. Stanford is second. Tennessee will finish third. Florida will finish fourth, despite the fact we get no points from football or women's basketball. Had a bad year in golf, men's and women's. Bad year in tennis, men's and women's. If those people just do what they're supposed to do, we win the whole thing.
It's not even close.
And it would not have been close.
No.
The Aggies, whether they win or lose tonight, are going to move up to 5th. So you're going to have Texas, Stanford, then Tennessee, Florida, and the Aggies. That's your first 5, and Alabama's in the top 10 as well. So you
Where does Auburn and LSU rank?
Well, hang on a second. I'll tell you because it's in my story today.
See, guys, you got to be reading GatorbaitMedia.com. Ben, you know it, and Bo, and read what Bo is writing as well, because, guys, there's so much great content. I mean, we miss the newspaper every day. You want to be great at something as a runner, a biker, a swimmer, a baseball player, a football player, you practice every day. Use your brain, your noodle. Read every day. Ben Troupe, listen to these podcasts. All these guests that we have on the show, they got to pass the litmus test. They got to bring a lot to the table. And Ben does 84 Reasons podcast. Bo, you're writing so much great stuff for the National Football Foundation, Baseball Writers of America. You are on the Mount Rushmore of history and all. Franz, tell us how those rankings look for the SEC as a whole.
SEC will finish, and let's just say Tennessee's in there as well. Yeah. Just for the heck, I mean, Texas is in there as well. Texas 1, Tennessee 3, Florida 4, Alabama 8, Texas A&M is currently 12th, but will move up to 5th. LSU, Georgia, LSU 14, Georgia 17, Arkansas 19, Auburn 29, South Carolina 32, Ole Miss 36, Kentucky 37, and that's all in the top 50. Okay.
Wow.
Then but you also have Oklahoma in there at 25, by the way. And then you got Missouri 55, Vanderbilt 64, Mississippi State 68. You know, that's the Directors' Cup. You think about this, the entire conference is within the top 68, and that includes a couple of schools that really don't give a rat's ass about anything. You know,
yeah.
I mean, Vanderbilt. They're wondering, did somebody forget the grapes today for the tailgate?
Well,
I brought the Chardonnay, but who brought the damn grapes?
Bo is a proud graduate of Vanderbilt, and a lot of my family went to Vanderbilt. And I keep telling them, I'm going, y'all need to raise some
went
hell.
To Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they got to start raising hell, Ben. You know that. And that's the thing is baseball, they got it figured out. Let's see what they do in basketball. They got a new coach now. But, Ben, round table, we'll do one more round, and then we're going to wrap it up. What I love about what's happening right now, you got the summer workouts going right now. Billy Napier's got a lot of people on his staff, but everybody's got a lot of analysts and all. Give me, in your opinion, give me your top 4 SEC football teams based on the portal and everything going on right now going into this season. Because I'll just say for the record, Texas, famously, Orville Henry, y'all remember him, a great writer for the Arkansas Democrat for decades. His son Clay was at the press conference when they announced Arkansas would be joining the SEC. And he said, Daddy, what is this going to mean for Arkansas? And he goes, son, we're playing Texas every Saturday. Okay? Now, with Texas and Oklahoma coming in the league, they've been getting by in the Big 12 for years. Got the Red River Shootout in Dallas every year at the State Fair. Howdy, folks. Big Tex here. The fried football is on sale now everywhere with a Twinkie inside of it. But, Bo, I'm so wound up, I forget what I was going to say. Yeah, they don't have to do that every single week. I think Texas, they did beat Alabama on the road last year. They beat, that was big. But they got to do it every week. I think Texas loses 3 games this year, maybe 4. But give me your top 4 in the SEC. Ben, Franz, Bo, and even Clarence Beeks will be on this panel.
Oh, top 4. I mean, Georgia 1, I think Texas 2, Alabama 3, Ole Miss 4 right now. I mean, because the thing about it is the portal and all that kind of stuff is great, right? It's all about who you already got on campus, though. If I know Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield got everybody. I could just get a guy at the portal. Doesn't happen like that, right? Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. They didn't win a lot of games. He won the Heisman at LSU. They didn't win a lot. So for me, it's Georgia 1, Texas 2, Alabama 3, Ole Miss 4. Because like I said, and Ole Miss, they got right in that portal. They got right. And the thing about it is like I said, I mean, I'm going off of what you already got on campus, what you got at quarterback, what you got at the head coach, so while portal is great, if I ain't got the head coach, quarterback, and culture in place, all that kind of stuff really, really don't matter. So, like I said, at the end of the day, give me Georgia, give me Texas, give me Alabama, give me Ole Miss.
All right. Franz Beard, top 4.
Georgia, number 1, Ole Miss, number 2. Number 3, I'm going to take Texas. And number 4, I'm going to take Alabama by default simply because it is Alabama. And Kalen DeBoer won at Western Walla Walla School of Nursing and Technical things, and then South Dakota School of Mines or something like that before he ever got a
beautiful
real job. But Kalen DeBoer is fascinating to me, and I think he's going to, I don't think the drop-off with Alabama is going to be – I think there's going to be a drop-off this year, but I think it's going to bounce – I think the bounce back is going to be pretty big with them.
Yeah, the one difference is that the end of Gus and the potato famine with Brian Harsin, Auburn kind of checked out, was in timeout for about 3 years. The closed for business sign was up in the football office window. But it has reopened, and they are going crazy in Auburn. So that's going to change things for Georgia and Alabama.
Florida will finish 5th or 6th, and you can count on that.
Yeah, I think okay, Bo Carter. Yeah, this is good stuff. Bo, give me your top 4.
Probably Georgia. I kind of agree with Ben there. Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss maybe, and then probably Alabama. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Oklahoma. Rob, you guys hit on the head. Oklahoma's going to be 7-5 or 6-6 here for a few years. Even though Red Venables just signed a 6-year contract extension. But this is like, you're right. You're playing Texas. You're playing Alabama every week. You're playing even Vanderbilt can come up and bite you every once in a while. So you just never know.
a bit of trivia, Texas has a winning record against every school in the Southeastern Conference except for Vanderbilt. And it's like 1-8-1. They hadn't played since 1928. So it's, I mean, put things
back in the days when Dan McGugan was
That's
the
right.
best coach in the
the
South.
legendary Dan, Mr. Magoo. But this is, look, you can't get a beautiful mind, 3 beautiful minds here, and Brendan a 4th, and my mind. But I love what is happening. The Oklahoma thing, Brent Venables, 6-year deal. And that's what Chuck Oliver was saying.
Good move. And he's going to win.
I think he's a hell of a coach. Oh, my God, I do. And I think, look, Jackson Arnold, I think is the highest-rated recruit Oklahoma has ever signed. And didn't Alabama's new quarterback commitment just win the Elite 11 quarterback deal out in California? So, man, it's with Oklahoma and Texas. There's no lack of commitment. It's just that weekly grind. Look, we'll wrap it up, man. Awesome show. Catch Ben 84 Reasons podcast. Find it on YouTube. Well, they find it everywhere, can't they?
Yeah, they can find it. Yes, I mean, I got some good shows coming up. I mean, it's been really, really fun just trying to sit down with future former, current Gators, and just enjoying the ride.
Well, I love the one I watched recently with Ernest Graham. What a cool guy. I mean, it's so. Listen, you want to understand why we love the game, you got to learn about the people, not just the quick sound bites on the field after the game. Learn about Ernest Graham, about his faith, about him. He's just it'll shake your head up, man. Franz Beard, GatorBetMedia.com, Bo, Baseball Writers America, National Football Foundation. Hey, check out all of our sponsors like Cool More Logistics, The Vitamin Shop. Oh, my goodness, we are so blessed to have them. Sidelines.live, you can find all of our sponsors. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.
See you.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks.
In a perfect world, you'd set a health goal and results would happen overnight. In this world, the real world, it takes time, dedication, and the right support to achieve your best self. The Vitamin Shop's health enthusiasts are here to make sure you're not wasting a single moment on the wrong supplements. From the highest quality sports nutrition and superfoods to the most sought after trends, you'll find a huge variety of science-backed solutions for every goal and the people to help guide you along the path to greatness.
Unbelievably, every 2 minutes in our communities, a child is either bought or sold for sex. I am Ari Dickey, board member for the Nashville Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition. Join me and millions of others in our fight against human trafficking and for its victims by helping to educate the most vulnerable among us, our middle and high school students. Go to nhtcoalition.org, become a partner, and help keep our families safe, because none of God's children are for sale.